Baseball does not need to be an idol in your life. You can't get life from it. Baseball is not life. Baseball is something you do. It is not who you are. And I would much rather have Jeff Otterson or others out there who understand that and are working on the character of the player. Who are you? And baseball can't be your life, but we're gonna have a heck of a lot of fun playing it.
I'm Jeff Otterson from Riverside, California, played for the LA Dodgers and for the Colorado Rockies, and now a resident here in Milton, Georgia. Well, now I'm a professional instructor / baseball coach. So the story kind of behind it is when I got done playing professionally with the Colorado Rockies, I was out here in Georgia when I played, and I retired. And my sister came and picked me up. She lived down here in Alpharetta. A couple kids played baseball, and they were playing catch in the front yard and kind of pulled me out. And then they drove me to an indoor facility, which where I grew up in Southern California, I wore jeans in Little League. I didn't really know anything about baseball instruction. So when I went into this baseball facility, I was like, people pay for this? Like, there's no way this actually exists. So it kind of sparked the idea. But when I left the game of baseball, I left the game broken and broke, meaning financially broke, but broken as a man because my identity was based in who I was as a professional athlete. So now that I wasn't playing, who was I? What was my value? The start of the whole business, I started putting flyers on windshield wipers. It took about 4 months to get my first phone call. Got my first phone call, and really due to the community, I was doing lessons out in local batting cages out at Hopewell Park. So one call led to 2, then to 3, then to 4, and it started to kind of grow. Well, at that point, I started to enjoy what I was doing. So kind of dove all in, put the swimming trunks on, dove all in full time, and started to try to turn this into a business. But the grace in it all was that I was at a local baseball community. So as I was teaching in the cages, I was watching father-son relationships on the field, that dynamic. So I started to really ask myself questions. Because I'd go out there and watch a game and see, a dad lighting up his 7-year-old son. The 7-year-old son's coming off the field crying because he dropped the fly ball, and it kind of drove me to ask some questions. So basically, number one, I asked the question, what was my relationship with my father when I was that age? How big was the game to me at that age, and how important it was to my dad? So at that point, I kind of put together a little bit of a coaching clinic book and started doing coaching clinics. And outside of the game of baseball, the fundamentals, I started really diving into how do I teach integrity? How do you teach love? How do you teach friendships? How do you teach relationships? How do you find these values in baseball? Because when I played, the whole myth was sports builds character. To be honest with you, you have to capture that and actually intentionally teach it for it to be found. So it kind of bubbled up there. So now all of a sudden, Otterson Baseball turned in from doing lessons and into coaching clinics. How it really spilled over into what we're doing today in terms of the Jackets and Otterson Baseball is that, number one, to be successful as a coach and an instructor, you gotta have a level of empathy. You gotta be able to see the kids. You gotta be able to connect to the pain of the game. So really, my struggles and failures as a professional athlete, I think grew me into the man that I am today because now I'm leveraging those. That's part of the story. Because this game is extremely difficult, but yet the fans and the parents who never quite played this game, they think perfection is achievable, yet it's not. So the first thing is to get them to understand that who they are as a baseball player doesn't define who they are as a man. And this organization is not about just building athletes. We can do that. We can take a good player and make them great. We can take a great player and make him exceptional. We can take an exceptional player and get him drafted. That thing we got. But how are we preparing these young men to be successful in life?
If you are a parent, the first thing that you have to decide is, what is my definition of winning? Define winning. And you have to say to yourself in the mirror and to your child, hey, this is what's most important. Is that getting a little ribbon at the end of 3 days or getting a little trophy? Is that what's most important? Or is it baseball development? Is that what's most important? Or is it personal development first and then sports second and then winning third? And when I say sports, just getting better as a baseball player. Is that what's most important? And you have a lot of choices. And you have to decide first, what is the definition of winning for our family?
You know, at the time I'm doing lessons outside at the parks and I'm wearing a beanie and gloves. I had no money to buy a facility. I had no money to have an indoor facility or a field. And one day I prayed. I said, God, I'd like to have an indoor facility someday. I'd like to have a field also. Then a guy shows up, the Hill family, who owns this property. This property that we're on, this beautiful property, is not even mine. He shows up, drops a business card on me. I drive down this driveway, and he goes, tell me your story. And I tell him my story about who I am, what I'm doing, and where I'm going. And he goes, tell my wife your story. And I tell her the story. And this was their retirement home. This was her dream house. The greatest sacrifice this family made for me is what it means to me that I'm going to be the greatest steward of the greatest gift. So this property itself started with the Hill family. They presented an opportunity. The guy starts gutting this building, don't even know who he is. I'm thinking to myself, am I paying for this? I drive down from church. I show up and I'm like, I should be helping you like fix this building. He's like, nah, man, don't worry about it. It's not about the money, it's about doing for others. 2 weeks later, he goes, what do you think about building a baseball field? I'm like, dude, don't brainstorm out loud. I mean, you're operating a whole nother Nutrizone, man, okay? I come out here 2 weeks later, he's got 5 earth movers scraping 70,000 yards of dirt. I don't even know this man, okay? This family, the Hill family, moved in my direction. I didn't even know him, okay? My relationship with that family was built on this field. I showed up every single weekend on my off time to be able to dig the sprinkler system. And that was the beginning of this property. Somebody moved in this community in my direction that didn't just bless me, but blessed all the men with me to provide an opportunity where I now can provide a living for other men. And that was where the Jackets started. As time went on, we would go out here and my company, Alderson Baseball, would run the practices on the field, but I didn't manage the team. But I did know that as the boys got older, at some point, I was gonna have to step up and coach a team. So of course, the Hill family got me mixed in like, hey, I was 13 years old. We want you to coach this team. They provided the greatest blessing to me. I needed to step into that world. And this was where the big transformation happened for me as a manager. As soon as I stepped onto the field, another part of me as an athlete, as an ex-professional athlete, I'm in the third base box. And what I started to realize in the third base box managing 13-year-old boys is that every parent in the stands wants 10-gallon barrel of drums of grace poured upon their kid in their play. They want to play in every minute of every game, all right? This game's not fair. It's only fair when you're the beneficiary of it. But I also realized that they want grace upon their kid, but they're only going to give me a teaspoon of grace. That this was a different platform. That now I'm in a different arena. That if I'm going to change the face of the game, if I'm going to instill principles of discipline and hope and direction and identity, that I need to go against the current of what the game it was doing at the time, what the game was. So I started asking myself these questions, and all of a sudden it started to change. And what ended up happening there is the more I instilled into these young men, this first group of boys, that, hey, you're mighty giants on the inner man. Who you are on the field is all about how you believe on the inside. You can be exceptional. Go be great. Don't be afraid to fail. Go be exceptional. And this team made a bang. And they weren't supposed to be that good. They're probably the most unimpressive team off the bus I've ever been with. But they went out there and played like giants, right? And it made this impact in the community. And so now from a baseball standpoint, it was in the culture. Who are the Jackets? These guys are going out and doing amazing things in the game of baseball, but yet it was the beginning of the perfect pulpit to be able to now invite more exceptional athletes here, and I leveraged the game to be able to change the heart and mind of thousands of kids.
A day in the life of Jacket would probably look like getting up early in the morning for an 8 o'clock game at Lake Point, and hopefully winning there, and then playing throughout the rest of the day, maybe getting lunch with your teammates in between, and going home and doing it all the next day. My name is John Zarzicki. I'm 16 years old. I pitch, and I've been with the Jackets for 2 years. So when I was 13 or 14 years old, word started to get around about this team, the Georgia Jackets, how they were beating people like nobody's business. And so before I knew it, I was taking lessons from Coach Jeff. And I learned a little bit more about the organization. Thought, wow, this is really cool. You know, they win a lot of the games. They're a Christ-centered organization. They got excellent coaches. You know, what's not to love? Well, the Jackets are definitely unique in the way that, you know, they're good on the field, but off the field, it's, you know, the coaches try to develop players to be young men and to be good men. Definitely being a faith-based organization sets them apart and makes it appealing to a lot of people.
My name's Lee Kay. I'm 19 years old and I played with the Jackets for 5 years. I mean, I've probably had a baseball in my hand since I was 3 or 4 years old. My dad was a baseball coach growing up. I was at the field every single day with him. I just love the game. I've loved it since I picked up a baseball. Well, when I was 12, I started playing with a group of guys called the Bandits, the Georgia Bandits, and I think our last year was 13 under year. We played the Jackets, had some really good games with them. We got a call from, I think, Fred Hill, what Coach Otterson was talking about earlier, the Hill family, and got a call from them and said that they basically wanted our whole team to come play for this new organization called the Jackets, and it just sounded like a good place to be. A countless number of things. It's made me into the player I am today, just mechanics-wise, and just the person I am, the hard-working player I am today. I owe it to the Jackets.
So I'm Corey Collins. I am 16 and I catch, and I've been playing with the Jackets for 4 years now. My dad and my mom, my dad, he played from high school, college, and then he ended up playing in independent ball. My mom, she played softball, so she was athletic, and it's just been an athletic family. My dad had a baseball facility up in Philly, and I'd go there every day and hit a bucket of baseballs, pick them up, and go in there, take a nap, eat lunch, and then go out and do it again until he left his lessons. And since I was 3 years old, I could just always go there and I'd play. We always played against them. We always played against the Jackets. They were the team you didn't want to play. We got to them late in the tournaments and they always beat us. They were the team that just would beat us every time. But our teams ended up splitting up, and playing them over and over and over again, you end up getting to know the kids you play. You like those kids, you want to play with them. So when that team broke up, we had the opportunity to jump over here to Jackets, and it's probably one of the best things that ever happened. We've been playing here since then and wouldn't have it any different. Out of all the teams played, out of all the tournaments we played, they were the team you wanted to be. They were the team that hustled, they were the team that ran harder than everybody else, they were the team that was just, they were the team to beat. They were the team that was loudest. You could be on a field up top and they'd be playing down at the bottoms. You would hear them yelling, you would know when the Jackets were winning. And so, things like that, what other 11-year-old kid wouldn't want to go and play with them? They're having fun. That's all baseball is, it's fun. The family bond that you have, it's insane. No one really knows until you go and play with a team like that. And my team, we fight to every last out. We had 2 games this tournament. We have 2 walk-offs. No one thinks you're winning. We still pull it out somehow, and it's fun. To be able to run out there and just dogpile on the field and get hype with your team, nothing's better than that.
1, 2, 3, Jackets!
We want a different experience for our kid. As a father, you want a different experience. We've all seen the travel ball teams blow up on the field because there's a lack of character, and leadership reflects that and things like that, but you're always looking for a different experience for your child. And we were able to find that here. The greatest
days for me was just being in the dugout like a fly on the wall, listening to someone tell my son the same thing that I had told him, but in a much different manner. That, you know, the game was about failure. I heard it 100 times, you know, you can make 7 out of 10 outs and you can get paid millions. So if you can't accept failure, then you've got no business here. You know, the game's going to beat you up, but the game doesn't define you.
My name's Joe Hamilton. I'm 17U head coach with the Georgia Jackets, as well as a recruiting coordinator and head of college communication. I think everybody here can empathize with the kids. This is a tough game. You know, everybody here's been fired more than once as a ball player. We've all been told we're not good enough to continue to play. And, you know, that's a hard pill to swallow when you're playing. But to take those experiences, the experiences of the failure, and like I said, be able to convey to the younger children that we understand. We understand that this is a tough game. We understand this game is built around failure. That failure is going to happen. Makes it maybe a little bit easier for them. At least we hope it does. I mean, all these boys have different personalities. Some are quiet, some are outgoing, some are loud and obnoxious, some are not. You know, I think the good thing about these boys is they come out and, for the most part, handle their business and come out ready to play. We try to prepare them as best that we can to you know, have success on the field for them. It's not for us. You know, everything that we do is for the boys and for the children. I think the reputation that we've had with the former boys that have been here and really put us on the map with our graduating class of a couple years ago, 2017, I think. You know, those boys did it for us. They came out, they played, they won, and made us a little more visible to everybody else. And with that success comes a little bit of responsibility where people want to get to you. They want to see you. They want to know what it's all about. They want to be a part of it. And once they get here, they're finding out that it's not just the baseball. So, you know, I think that goes a long way.
I think the appreciation for the game, that it's not guaranteed. And those are the conversations that we have now, is that, you know, we're looking at the kind of man that you're becoming, the accepting of responsibility and things like that. There will be guys that are fortunate enough to play this game until they're 35, 40 years old. Most kids, when they hit 18, they're done. This organization is a platform for those kids to continue to play another 3 or 4 years, enjoy a collegiate experience. And the seeds that are planted with responsibility, I'll tell you the biggest thing that still sticks with me was the selflessness that was in this organization, which is darn near impossible to do. Because everybody here, when they first come, they're here for one reason. They're here to get a college scholarship, or they're here to get drafted. If everyone wants to be honest about it, that's what they're here for. But then these men were able to take these selfish ambitions and blend them into teamwork, which is unheard of. And people ask what's different. That's what's different here.
Understand and remember who they are in Christ Jesus on the inside, their inner man. Be with them today.
I think what sets us apart are the kids, the families, you know, our beliefs and what we try to instill in the young men with teachings of life lessons in Scripture, and with that, I think we've attracted the families that we get.
Is the foundation of why this even exists. If it wasn't for the generosity of many, many families that have gone through this organization and this program who have turned around and have given financially, opportunity-wise, to allow other families that can't afford travel ball, which is crazy expensive, the opportunity to play here. The community impact has been everything.
One of the things about the Otterson program that I do like is that they stress more than just baseball. It's about personal development. It's about how are you doing in school. It's about your faith. It's about more than just fielding a ground ball, throwing a ball, and hitting a ball.
You know, the secret to our success really is the boys. We've attracted good boys and terrific families, and it makes our job easier. I'd like to sit here and say that it's all us, but it's not. We've got great kids, and you know, I think the reason that we have those may be within our group of coaches, but ultimately the success that we've had has been the boys.
Just the memories that I've made. I mean, I've been with the Jackets for 5 years, and so many memories. Traveling all over the country, all over the Southeast, and playing in these huge tournaments. It's been amazing.
Well, definitely, I've made lifelong friends with the Jackets. You know, like I mentioned earlier, team chemistry. It's played a big role in us winning. So I can see those relationships definitely keeping on for a good bit.
I mean, Coach Jeff, he wants you to be the best person you can be. He wants you to be the best player you can be. And he just wants you to succeed. It's something different. It's a family over here. It's a big community of everybody's in the jacket. You have one common goal, and that's to become a better person and a better player.
There's other things that are more important than throwing a ball past a guy that holds a stick. And there's more important things than taking that stick and hitting that ball. I am passionate beyond belief about baseball, but one of the things that I love so much about the game is the amount of failure, because you have to pick yourself up. You have to learn life lessons from that. And so when you pick a program, whether it's Otterson Baseball or someone else, you want that leader, you want that guy to know that baseball is about life and that he is teaching principles and things that are learned on the field, off the field.
Milton and Alpharetta has allowed me to grow this company to impact the community on their youth. I want it to be a place where kids can come and be a safe place where they can be challenged and grow and play at a high level. So what makes this organization so successful is that it's a family and that it's personal and that the kids and the families are not commodities. They're real human beings of lives that we want to meet, mold, and help them get to the next level. It's beyond baseball.